Hi, and welcome back to NSTV's celebration of World Art Day. Today that we gather all local artists from Long Island to come in and celebrate all different kinds of arts. And today with us we have Betty Cole, who has a small business called Off Your Wall Art. And today she's gonna tell us a little bit about the business, and we're gonna do some painting, and we're gonna have a good time, and hopefully I won't make a mess out of myself. So here's Betty. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Erica. I'm so happy to be here and tell everyone about what I do and what local artists are working on all the time. So I'm really glad to be part of the program today.
Yeah, this should be pretty cool. So how about we start with you telling us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in the arts, generally speaking.
I've always had a passion to be in the arts. I was a school teacher years ago. Initially, I was trained to be an art teacher, but I ended up teaching first grade right here in Long Island, which, if you know first graders, you can do art all day with them as well. And about 5 years ago, I took a big leap and became a full-time artist and small business owner and started Off Your Wall Art.
Oh, how exciting that is, huh? So, tell us a little bit about the business. Like, what is Off Your Wall Art? That's an interesting title for a business and an interesting name. Tell us a little bit about it.
Off Your Wall Art is exactly what it sounds. It's art that really doesn't go on your wall. It's art that is purposeful and meaningful and useful. And really, my business is based on upcycling. Some people call me a recycling artist, a repurposing artist, an upcycling artist. But I just felt like I wanted to be the kind of artist that recognized that I have an effect on my global footprint. So I try and do as much as I can with repurposing, finding things that might go in the trash or even in the recycling bin, and either turning it into artwork myself and selling it, or through my other part of my business, which is teaching paint events, using those pieces that I find that, like I said, would normally go into the trash, using them and teaching people how to paint on those for their projects.
Now, did you find this past year during the pandemic, did your business grow at all? Because I know sometimes, these things are helpful because virtual, it opens up a whole new window for you. Or were you affected negatively? How was that for you?
So I've been doing this for 5 years. If you asked me a year ago, hey, Betty, would you consider teaching virtually? I would say, are you kidding me? I mean, I got to get my kids to teach me how to update a phone, let alone I never heard of Zoom before. Yeah, right. And I quickly pivoted because I wanted to keep my business successful, but also I found that people who were stuck at home just were looking for some source of creativity, some way to connect with those that they love or people that they work with. And yeah, everyone's Zooming all day, but they're like meetings for work. And so I transitioned my business to painting online and doing fundraisers and birthday parties and family reunions and ladies' night in, Girl Scout troops, bridal showers, you name it. I figured out how to source my supplies at a price where I wasn't charging more for the events, but making more accessible to people, packaging up my supplies, shipping them out to people, and then we Zoomed together, and it's been really great. Things have opened up for me that I wouldn't have thought of to do a year and a half ago, where I was teaching in person all the time.
Yeah,
so I'm lucky, and I have to say that it's been a real hard time for artists and crafters and people who rely on making things handmade and selling them at craft shows and fairs, because those just disappeared. So I've been really, really lucky.
Yeah, that's true. I wasn't thinking about that, but right. So many crafters, they go to those big open air festivals and nothing was available anymore.
Nothing available. So two things happened for me. Was I was able to continue to make and sell my work because people weren't even able to go shopping for gifts and get them to people that they wanted to get them to. So I have a following, and they'd call me and ask me to make a piece for them, and I'd ship it. And because of the access to FaceTime and Zoom, I could even show them the piece and ask if they wanted any changes on it. But then the shift to teaching the workshops through Zoom just blew up for me. And I think it might stay there for a while. Some things that came to me that I never would have thought of before was like a corporate event for a company that has their employees all over the country. I didn't think, how can I teach them? But now I'm shipping supplies to them and they're doing, a staff appreciation day or team building. And I think that might stick around.
Oh, I guarantee it, 100%. Things will return to normal a bit. You'll have your in-person things, but at least there'll always be some kind of hybrid approach. Because
I think
now
so
you can
too. It's
paint with your
become
grandma
really
across the
easy.
country.
Yeah.
And so and I do know that during the pandemic, I have 3 kids, and there's always some kind of fundraiser. We couldn't do our bake sales. We couldn't do anything like that. So these types of virtual events and fundraisers were really popular. And, not for nothing, but they make you happy, right? Because art makes you happy.
One of the things that I'm getting out of teaching remotely is people are just affirming how much they're enjoying it. I get the comment all the time, this is so relaxing, this is my best Zoom of the day, it feels so therapeutic. Not only the adults, but I work with a lot of kids. I've been doing, primary schools, they're bringing me in, and the scout troops. And they just seem to feel that it's the time of the day where they just feel the most relaxed.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And then thrilled with their final project, right? They're like, look what I did. So
I get a lot of people, lots of type A personalities, and those who look, I'm not artistic at all, I can't do this. I design every workshop to have a success at the end. Nothing is too challenging. They follow along with me. I also make it fun and relaxing. It's the process, not just the end product. And this month I started to teach in person again, which is crazy. I'm wearing a mask, my participants are wearing masks, but it's opening up. I've got people calling me to do in-person events and backyard events. So I'm getting both at the same time right now. I just don't think that the virtual is going to go away.
yeah. Well, luckily now it's getting warmer. So people could go back to doing some outdoor things if they feel better about outdoor events, gathering outdoors, you could space it out. So, I'm sure that's going to pick up for you. But this is not going to change. You're going to be doing virtual forever now. I guarantee it.
I agree. I got another router in the house. I'm counting on it.
Yeah. So why don't we get started? I got all my supplies that you sent to me. I have this beautiful bottle.
Right. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about why we're painting on a wine bottle, just to give you some background.
Okay.
About 5 years ago, I left another job that I had, and I said, all right, I don't know what's next, but I'm going to go out and celebrate. And I was out for dinner with my husband, and we had a bottle of wine, and I saw the bartender take the bottle and throw it into the trash can. And I just said, please tell me that's your recycling bin. And he goes, no, we actually don't recycle our glass. We move too fast. Our town doesn't have us do it. It just goes out with the garbage. So it really hurt me that that's what was happening. I wasn't aware of that. So I said, fine, give me my wine bottle. I'm going to take it home. I don't know what I'm doing with it, but I'm going to take it home. Well, I cleaned it. I stripped off the label, which is what I do with every wine bottle that I either work on or my event participants work on. And that's how my business started. So I really did take this out of the garbage 5 years ago, and have probably, I call myself a bottle rescuer. I'm probably I've rescued 5,000 to 6,000 wine bottles by now easily.
Oh, that's a lot.
And then I'd love to show you the other things that I do with repurposed art, but let's paint first. So,
wait, I have a question for you.
I got last night. I was driving past Pinzar Vineyard, and I popped in, and they know me, and they had 4 cases of empties waiting for me. So I would take the empties, I bring them home. I have a process where I clean and soak off the labels. I will tell your viewers how to do that later on. I actually have links on my website for free tutorials, literally how to get the label off a bottle. And so this is the before, and here is an after, and we're going to get started. I really try and, again, avoid as much waste as possible. This tray that I'm using as a palette, I had my vegetables crudité on here. So I just take it, I rinse it off. The water that I'm going to wash my brush out with was from my soup. So I try and use everything I can at least one more time before it hits the recycling or the garbage. So let's get started. Erica, you have your supplies in front of you?
I do. I'm ready to rock.
Right. Tilt my camera down just a bit. First thing we have is an alcohol prep pad. Now, a lot of people are like, oh, wow, that's so COVID safe. It's not really a COVID reason. If you just take your prep pad and just give your bottle a quick wipe down, what you're doing is you're getting the surface ready for painting. When you paint on a canvas, it's really absorbent, and the canvas will, hold the paint. Glass is a non-absorbent surface. It's not porous, and so the paints would want to naturally just sort of drip down. A coating of the alcohol will help keep the acrylic paint on there. Okay. So we're going to start with the bigger paintbrush first. You see that?
Got it.
Okay. And you have green paint?
Green paint.
And yellow. Just shake a little bit of that onto your paper plate that I gave you.
Okay.
And we're going to use the green and the yellow paint without washing our brush in between to get, you'll see this like grassy look at the bottom of my wine bottle. We're going to do that. And the beautiful part about not washing the brush in between is when you dip your brush into the yellow and the red at the same time, you're blending your colors together on the brush. So I'm going to hold my bottle up.
I don't have red. I have yellow. I have orange.
What you do to work is put your finger in the top here and lean it away from you, and you're going to work on your bottle that way. I'm going to work on my bottle this way just for the sake of the camera. The first step's really simple. It's yellow paint and green paint back and forth. Starting at the bottom of the bottle, just sweeping up like that. Going all the way around the bottle. Mostly green, just a touch of yellow. And what we're doing is making these grasses going in different directions. So you could sweep one off to the side, a shorter one going a little bit higher, another one off to the side. They can certainly overlap. Some can go higher than others. Just constantly picking up a little green paint, a touch of yellow, and going all the way around the bottle to create this really pretty look of grass and stems and leaves for the base of the bottle. Any question?
Not yet.
Okay.
I think I'm doing good here. Oop, I just made a mistake. I'm going to spread it out. Now, I'll do this on a wine bottle, but if you have like a Girl Scout troop or a kid's birthday party, we'll do it on mason jars. Oh.
Or I'll have the kids save olive jars and pickle jars and pasta jars. I'll tell them how to get the label off first. And, we talk about the recycling aspect of it. Now, what's pretty about these bottles is you can put, and I'll show you at the end, we get a light that goes inside to light it up. But what I want to do while you're painting, show you something else that I do with them. Same thing, wine bottles repurposed, and then I get these dispenser corks, and we make olive oil and vinegar dispensers, or really any liquid you could put in here, syrup, alcohol. You can fill this with water and use it when you're serving guests. Just a cool way to serve any kind of liquid. I have people who fill this with soap and put it at their sink, and it's just a cool way to wash your hands. All right, are you done with the first step?
Yep, I think I'm good.
Beautiful, great. Take your brush, give it a good rinse. And an important part about painting on glass is you've got to make sure that you dry your brush with a napkin after, because if you go back onto your bottle with a wet brush, that paint's just going to want to run down. Next step, do you have a round sponge brush?
I sure do.
Okay, this is great. We're going to make the heads of our sunflower. You have a brown paint or like a tan color?
I do.
Okay, take your sponge brush, dip it into, I know your paint is probably in a little container.
Yeah.
But after you've dipped it in there, what happens is it gets pretty thick. You don't want to put that much on. Dab it onto your plate just to take some of it off. And then going all around the bottle, just intermittently, you're just pressing down and getting a perfect circle for the head of your sunflower.
Well, that wasn't perfect. There we go.
Pretty simple, right? And so I'm just staggering them, one a little higher, one a little lower.
How many we got here? Does it matter?
Everyone puts a different amount. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have like 6 or 7 on mine. The thing is that you could start with that amount, and then as we fill in the petals, if you feel like you need more, you can just go ahead and add more later on.
Just smush the glue
So
with
you
my
can just
finger.
put this brush down. We're not using it again today, unless you want to add some more flowers. Next, we are pouring yellow paint and orange paint on the plate.
Okay.
And we're going to do the sunflower petals. So this is the part that scares most people. The way that I teach this is I don't really have people painting with me at the events for 2 reasons. One is I want you to follow the steps that I do. Then I want you to ask me any questions you have. Then I show it to you again, just so you know what we're doing. And then you go ahead and paint. And I do that for another reason. The events are supposed to be social. We want to talk to our friends. We want to catch up. We want to hang. I don't want my group muting themselves. I don't care how many people you are. Because when it's your turn to paint, just paint and talk to each other. So I do that in person and I do it remotely as well.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you the first step. And it is picking up mostly yellow paint and a touch of orange. So we're blending them together again, but it's mostly yellow and just a touch of orange. Think about the circle you just made as the center of a clock. And the first stroke you're making is 12 o'clock, and it's a brush stroke going up. Then you've got 6 o'clock. And I always mess this up because I am painting upside down and backwards, but I'm getting some more orange and yellow paint. So I did 12, I did 6, 3, and 9. And then I'm just filling in the numbers in between. 1 and 2, 4 and 5, 7 and 8, 10 and 11. And voila, it's a sunflower. Let me show it to you one more time. And it's pressing down to get the first 12 o'clock and the 6 o'clock, those 2 strokes. And it's 3 and 9. Now, some people will make their petals either too thick and they don't have room, or too thin and they need more. That's fine. It's not going to be exactly the hands of a clock, but it's just a starting point. And if you're comfortable, you don't have to follow that, and you can just get the idea that what you're really doing is just going all the way around the head of the sunflower and adding in your petals. And again, what's really pretty about combining the yellow and the orange on the brush at the same time, you don't have to worry about how do I blend those colors. It just happens on the brush. So start painting.
Okay.
Some people want to know what kind of paint this is. So it is a multi-surface paint. It's also called an all-purpose paint. People ask me what brands I use. I use whatever's on sale. It doesn't really matter. As long as it says either multi-surface or all-purpose, because it becomes permanent. Now, it's not going to be permanent right away, so if it gets on your jacket, you can wash it off. But it does become permanent, and it's also bakeable. And what do I mean by bakeable? So if you're painting on this wine bottle like we're doing today and just putting a light inside, it doesn't matter if it's become permanent right away, or you don't have to bake it because you're not wetting it. And in 20 days, the paint becomes permanent. But if you wanted to use this paint on another kind of glass that gets washed or gets wet, and I'm going to show you a few examples. I make and I teach painting on wine glasses, right? That has a purpose. And then also on glass soap dispensers. Again, trying to avoid single-use plastics. This is a really fun, creative way to have an event and also end up with a piece that's usable and good for the environment. So while you're painting the sunflowers, I'll explain what do I do to make these and the olive oil dispenser permanent so they can get washed and wet is this paint gets baked in the oven, which the idea of that scares people. But if you think about it, you put in a glass dish when you're making a pie. Not me, I don't really bake, I paint. I can't be good at everything. But when you finish painting this piece, you let it dry for 3 days, and then it goes into an oven right on the rack. It bakes for a half hour at 350. And when it comes out, after it's cool, it's washable. So that's why you're using an acrylic paint that is permanent. All right, how are those sunflowers coming along?
They're coming.
Let's see. Oh, that's so pretty. They look very tropical.
Yeah, mine are like thinner lines than yours, and I'm messing up
So
one for sure.
If I was having an event, what I would do is if you were concerned that they were too thin, I would pin your screen bigger and I'd say, okay, Erica, show me what your piece is, and then I'd give you advice. So I'll give it to you right now. Hold your bottle up so I can see it. Okay, so
Maybe
you
here.
have petals that are thinner. You didn't press as hard with your brush as someone else would. You
Yeah.
could either say, I love it like that and leave it, or in between those petals, just add another one in between and fill it out.
Yeah.
So while you're painting your sunflowers, I'm going to tell your viewers about some other things that I do with garbage, maybe?
Yeah.
You call that finish? So I just started cigar boxes, which normally go out with paper on recycling day, but I started to paint and plant on cigar boxes. And I love succulents because they're really easy to care for. I mean, if you kill a succulent, you shouldn't own a plant.
Ah, whatever.
Oh no, I feel like you've killed a succulent
What?
before.
I'm a little offended.
Are you really too much water? Not enough water?
I think I'm overwater things. I'm an overwaterer.
How often did you over?
I don't know. I really don't know. You know, I remember, then I'll like pour a whole glass into something. You know, I'm not a good.
10 days to 2 weeks. That's it. You soak it and then you leave it for another 2 weeks. Anyway, so this was a cigar box. I pulled the lid off and I painted the whole box. I stuck the lid on the top. It's my namaste. It's helping everyone just feel relaxed and have good looking things in the house. So that's something else that I've gotten into repurposing.
I
How's
love
the
it.
flower? Let's see. Hold it up.
I don't know which one.
That
Maybe
looks
this one.
great. That looks great. Love it. Oh, how pretty. Okay, so now we're going to work on painting some lavender at the bottom.
Okay.
And using purple and white. So just shake a little bit of that out onto your palette. And I gave you this tiny little brush, right? Little black handle. This one.
Got
Yep.
it.
Okay, so again, this is really simple. I go right back to my first grade teaching roots. We did the hands of the clock before. Now we're going to do a letter in the alphabet, and it is the letter V. Picking up purple and a touch of white on the same brush, mostly purple, a touch of white. Finding a place at the bottom of the bottle and making a letter V, tiny letter V. See that? Then I'm just going to keep stacking little letter V's, one inside of the other, going up. And that's how you create lavender. Now, the key to lavender is they like to grow in bunches, and they're not all, the same shape or size. So once you've created one of those, right next to it, you can do a shorter one. And again, just mostly purple, a little of white going back and forth, stacking it. And this one I'll make a little shorter. And maybe the one next to it on the other side, I'll have it blowing in the wind, leading out to one side like that. And they're just little V's stacked one inside of the other. You don't have to fill the whole bottle. You can swivel it, leave a little space in between, add another one over here. They can go up as high as your sunflowers or just, randomly in between. Any question about how to make that?
No, I mean, I'm not loving what I'm doing right now, but I'm sure it'll come out better when I'm done here.
When you're completely done is when everyone goes, oh, I can't believe how great it came out. I didn't think I could do this. Because it's one of these processes it's a project in layers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you know what I think? I think I'm afraid that I'm going to
You're not
run
going
out
to
of
taste your
paint.
food in the middle and say, oh, it's bland, but that's because you don't add most of the ingredients till, a later step.
Yeah, that's true.
Then again, back to cooking. Everything I make is bland, which is why I paint.
So what do you usually paint with your younger groups?
Okay, so Sometimes I'll get hired to do a private event like a kid's birthday party. So I will talk to the birthday girl or boy and ask them what they're into and what they think their friends will like. And I will show, and then if I'm doing something with a library program or a troop meeting, and they might have a mission for that month to cover, I'll try and come up with a project that meets whatever their mission is. So Earth Day is always great because we can repurpose things from around the house. So I'm going to get you some of the things I've done with kids. This is a big flower pot season for planting. So I do a lot of this where we paint a flower pot together. This was a sample I did for a little girl's birthday party. And then we paint this and they get either a bag of soil and seeds to go with it. And I try and either get organic seeds or those from like the Hudson Valley region. It's hard to find local seeds, but there's this company called the Hudson Valley Seed Company that I order from, or I'll try and find the organic ones. This is a great kids project. I have another flower pot that I did with an older group. I think they were 10. We did this really pretty beach scene together, and then we planted. We physically planted together, and I taught them how to care for succulents and how to plant them. But we planted them from unrooted cuttings and talked about the process of how they root. Another challenge is sometimes I'll do a planting event for, I just did an event with Stony Brook University. They wanted to keep their students during spring break on campus instead of sending them home for COVID reasons. And we planted succulents together after painting a flower pot, but I had to keep about 70 plants alive from the date that I had them delivered until the date of our event. So I'm sort of a little farmer on the side as well. I also do canvas painting with kids, and I'm sorry I'm reaching down, but I'm going to go ahead and get. I've had sunflower events, desert scene events for kids. This one's really fun. I'm actually doing it with the Comac Public Library Thursday night. It's tie-dyeing a canvas. Which is so simple. You just put paint on the canvas and put saran wrap on top and mush it together, and you get tie-dyed. So.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Yeah.
And everything that I do, I try and pick projects that people can then go ahead and replicate on their own when they have free time. And then I put everything on my website so you can go back and take a look at it again.
It's cool.
Yeah.
All right, I think I'm good.
All right. Let's see. Hey, that's really good.
I don't know if you could see it.
We have one last step.
Oh, good.
And then
Let's do it.
lighted. Last step is getting the seeds on the sunflower.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
You might want to start it with me and then finish it later. I don't know how much time we have for that. But remember that tiny little brush? This one?
Yeah.
Back in the day when you can go somewhere and they can apply makeup on you and then they throw it away. Remember those days?
Yeah.
That's what these are.
Okay.
And so these are really great for details. Black paint. And we're just picking up the black paint on this little brush
Okay.
and dot, 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 little seeds in the middle of the sunflower head. I happen to love sunflowers. You know, that's my thing. Sunflowers and tulips. And there is this great place. Can I share with you a place that I go to for sunflower fields?
Yeah, because my daughter wants to go.
She's going to love it, and it's not far. I know Nassau County people think everything is so far when you get on that LIE heading east, right?
Let me tell you, I'm really a Queens person, so it's even farther for me.
Well, listen, I was born and raised in Brooklyn.
Oh, that's
when
right,
I told
you know.
people I was moving to Comac, they're like, you're going to the country. I go, if there's a Marshall's, a TJ Maxx, and 4 diners I could walk to, it's not the country. Right? Okay, so like I was saying, I sell my work in a few places. There's this Water Drinker Family Farm. It's amazing. They have a barn there that's really a gift shop they sell my work there. But they have massive fields. They're about to open their tulip festival because I think about another week or two and they'll be in bloom. And you can walk through them and you can cut tulips, and they have animals to feed and they have food trucks. It's like a whole event for the day. You can go out with your family. So then they convert into a sunflower field for several months throughout the summer into September, and you can walk through the sunflower fields and cut their sunflowers for I think it's like $3 a head, and you could pay a pretty small fee to use all of the amenities for the day. They have mini golf and they have the bouncies and, like I said, the barnyard animals. And then their barn, they sell fresh produce, locally grown, my work, other work of handmade art, handcrafting artists. So it's a really nice day. Here's the best part of it. You ready?
Yep.
You're on the LIE. You're just going to exit 69, and it's right there.
Just going to 69. That's like going to Jersey.
It's not, no, Jersey, you have the jug handles and all that. You can't get lost.
69 is far.
I don't have to drive through New Jersey. I don't drive through New Jersey. But you just get on, you go, hey, and here's a bonus. If you're passing by, there's a rest area in Dix Hills on the LIE. Called Taste of New York. I also sell my work there. And you can get locally made jams and bread and locally sourced dairy. Get off exit 69. As soon as you get off the exit, you make a right. You're practically in the parking lot for the farm. It's a beautiful day out. You could spend the whole day there.
I'm going to take my daughter.
Pies and biscuits and cookies and you name it. Just making all those little dots. And then when you're done with that, the best part, the fun part, is putting the light in.
Okay, I'm ready for the light.
Right. See how pretty that lights up? That's what you're going to do. So, cool thing, the only part of this project I don't make is the cork. The cork is plastic. It has a switch on it to turn the light on and off. And once you've unraveled the string of LED lights, you're just going to thread it through your bottle. Usually after I do something like this and people get to know me, people just start dropping off empty wine bottles on my driveway. So my mailman knows what the deal is. I know him for a long time. But those who collect my trash and recycling, I often wonder what they think.
Okay, here we go. Oh. Woo!
Ooh, yay! That's the ooh and ah moment.
That looks so beautiful.
It really does, right?
Yeah, it does. That's so cool.
Now yours says you are my sunshine on the outside. So something really fun is if you wanted to have an event with me, or some people just buy the supplies. I put together kits where you could buy the bottle, the paints, the brushes, everything, and you're just bringing some friends home, one day to hang out and you want a few kits. You can just tell me whatever you want the bottle to say, and I print that out on vinyl, and it just gets stuck right on top.
Oh, I love it. I love it. So cool. This was so great.
Thank you. You did a good job.
Why, thanks. I appreciate it.
The art skills are coming back. See?
Yeah, if you looked close, which you can't, not complaining, you'd be like, oh, not the best.
No one should get that close.
You know what? It doesn't matter because it's fun and it makes me happy, and that's what really matters, right? To make me happy. So.
It's really pretty when you put it out and you're not staring at it, and people walk through your home and say, wow, that's really nice. And you go, I made it. And they go, no way, you didn't make that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think so too. So this was
really
cool.
Nice is you could take this outside. So if you're barbecuing or picnicking or just sitting out at night, having a glass of wine, whatever, it's really pretty to bring outside with you and put it in the center of a table.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice centerpiece for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. And you decorated mine nice with this twine, which I love too.
Yeah, we can wrap the neck with twine. This one here. So you know how you find jewelry that you lost an earring or the bracelet broke, but you just don't want to throw out the pieces. I mean, we're talking costume jewelry. This piece I made, and I found a bracelet. I think my daughter gave it to me for Mother's Day, and she bought it at the school fair.
Yeah.
You remember when you'd give them money to go buy you
Yep.
something at the school
Yep.
fair? I'm whispering like she's in the house, so I cut she's always in the house. I cut the bracelet up, and I glued the gems in the middle.
Oh, such
Here.
a great idea.
I don't throw anything out. I try not to.
Yeah, that's a
So-
great idea.
Lots on here.
But now that's not in some drawer broken. Now it's actually out and being able to use. So it looks great. I'm sure she'd be
Right.
happy with that.
She hasn't seen it yet, but we'll see if she's happy about it.
So why don't you tell us like what's next on the horizon for you, where everybody can find your bottles, how they can join one of these nights, paint day
Right.
nights. Give us the
So
spiel.
next on the horizon, I do have some really exciting news. Like I said, I'm at 4 retail shops, but I'm really proud of all of them. I talked about the rest area, which is called Taste of New York. If you're on the LIE, it's between exit 51 and 52. It is just a hidden gem on Long Island. Besides selling my pieces, they have some just really great locally created foods and treats and artwork and candles and soaps. I'm at the farm I told you about, Water Drinker, which I love because it's a great destination for families. There's a garden shop in Comac called Acer's Home and Garden. They sell my work there, and I just love it. It's a mom and pop business. It's local. It's been here forever. They do a great job of supporting local artists like myself. And then the big news is I am now part of an artists cooperative that has opened at the Walt Whitman Mall, and we're having our grand opening on Saturday. It's huge. It's called Devotion. We were temporarily in a location in Comac where the Whole Foods is, where Pier 1 used to be. And then the whole cooperative moved into the mall a few days ago. And what is an artist cooperative? I talked before about how, the industry was really hit hard. There were no craft fairs to go to.
Okay.
People are buying everything online. And so an artist cooperative is a place for artists to sell their work. You pay a rental fee for your space, and then the owners of the shop, they just stay there and they help sell your work all day. But it's a great place to gather with other artists and collaborate on work and just support one another. So I have an area in the store where I sell all of my work. And there's got to be about 40 to 50 really talented vendors. You can get photography there, ceramic work. And it's a really exciting time for all of the artists involved in this cooperative.
That sounds great.
So it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And how to find me if you want to just know more about what I do or book an event or just ask me where I get my paint from. offyourwallart@gmail.com is my email. My website, my Instagram, my Facebook is all Off You Wall Art. So that's how you can find me on any of the social media. You can email me, you can call me, and I'm here to help you get creative.
That's great. That's great. Thank you so much for your
you.
time, for showing me, for sending me the bottle. I'm so excited.
Loving me.
And thank you for celebrating World Art Day with us. And I hope that everybody reaches out to you. And I wish you the best of luck with everything.
Thanks for having me.
All right. You take care.